Being a hero, there is no higher calling. Your sister understood something about that.
I should have come back for you.
No. That's just a fairy tale.
This week on Talking About the Movies, we get introduced to the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad. No, Okay, it's basically Marvel's Suicide Squad. Sort of. We're going to talk about that and also talk about that asterisk in front of the title because it does get mentioned in this movie. Let's talk about the Thunderbolts. Plus,
Emily, how are you here?
I'm getting married.
Will you be my maid of honor? Did I mention it was in Capri?
Capri? Yes, she is in. We're all in.
Anna Kendrick once again gets entangled into another mystery from Blake Lively in the sequel to 2018's A Simple Favor, Another Simple Favor. It's a double feature this week on Talking About the Movies as we kick off the summer 2025 movie season. And welcome to Talking About the Movies as we're continuing my celebration of 20 years of me covering the biggest new releases of the weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, we finally have arrived. The summer movie season officially is here, and we're rolling out the blockbusters right away because, of course, we have the latest film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but you might not realize, you may realize if you already saw the intro, that there was a sequel that came out this week, but you don't have to go to a theater to see it. You can watch it at home as soon as you're done watching the first film we're going to look at. And we're going to take a look at that film a little bit later on in the show. But, of course, we've got the big new release of the weekend, so let's go ahead and get right to it. The 36th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is Thunderbolts. Asterisk. The asterisk, by the way, you'll be able to figure out what it is, especially when the movie is over, and they literally tell you what it is, because, you'll pretty much be able to know what it is by the time the movie is over. So, good marketing campaign, good move on that part for having the asterisk there, because it'll eventually be revealed at the end of the film, but, I was about to say good marketing campaign, but we'll get to that in just a second. Let's talk about the plot of the movie. You have, you have a group of anti-heroes caught in a deadly trap and forced to work together on a dangerous mission, with the leader of this being the CIA director, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who we've already seen in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Black Widow, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So she's been around, but this is her first real big role in a movie like this. She kind of had a supporting role in Wakanda Forever and like little bit roles in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the end of Black Widow. But speaking of Black Widow, we have a couple of stars from that movie. Florence Pugh returning as Yelena Belova, David Harbour returning as her father, the Red Guardian, can't remember the name now, Alexia Shostakov. But not only do we have them, we also have Bucky Barnes, who has now gone on to become a member of Congress, and he's basically the de facto leader of the Thunderbolts. Wyatt Russell is back as John Walker from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Olga Kurylenko is back as Taskmaster, who was in who was the main antagonist in Black Widow. We have the appearance of the Void, played by Lewis Pullman, who is the son of Bill Pullman. We also have Ava Starr, Ghost, Hannah John Carmen back from Ant-Man and the Wasp. And is that all we have? I think that's it. But we also have characters played by Wendell Pierce, Chris Bauer, Geraldine Viswanathan. So there is a good assortment of people in the movie here. But when you look at the film and you see where it's going, it's basically just the Suicide Squad. I mean, this is basically Marvel's answer to the Suicide Squad. Let's grab all these anti-heroes together and put them in a movie. And eventually, the Suicide Squad got it right once they got somebody from the MCU, James Gunn, to make it work. And so, you look at this, and I'll tell you, I've been more supportive of the MCU as of late. I was the one that actually gave Captain America Brave New World more of a pass because, there was definitely a lot of flaws to it, but I did not think it was as bad as everyone made it out to be. And with this, I was more concerned about the marketing campaign for this because it seemed like it was really all over the place. Like, I really couldn't figure out what direction to go with the marketing campaign as a whole, and I got a little worried about how this was going to pan out. But then the reviews started coming out; they were all looking pretty solid. It was just like, okay, I'm getting a little bit more confident. And then I finally went to see the film, and they were absolutely right to be positive because this is not only a good movie in the MCU, but maybe the best one I've seen since Avengers Endgame and post Endgame, and that really is saying a lot because there have been some good movies in the MCU since Avengers Endgame ended. They've been more fewer than far between than what they were beforehand, but yeah, this is definitely a return to form for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the weird thing about the movie is that it kind of goes back to what you expect from the Marvel Cinematic Universe when they were working well. They have all these characters, and they put them together in a situation where they don't really feel like it's weird because they feel like the same characters that you saw beforehand, but we do get to learn a lot more about them, and they actually have more of a purpose this time around than you would think that they would have. The character of Ghost, Hannah John Kamen. We get to learn more about her in this. We get to learn more about all these people involved in here. Wyatt Russell's character still has not gotten over the events of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It makes them very compelling characters, and of course the breakouts here really are the stars from Black Widow, Florence Pugh and David Harbour, who once again work off each other very well as Yelena and also Alexiev. I keep getting this name wrong, Alexia, and they're both really good. David Harbour is a delight in this movie. I'm just starting to I've realized it for a while now, but anytime you put David Harbour in a movie, the guy's going to be instant gold because he just is game for pretty much anything you put him in. Even in a bad movie like the Hellboy reboot he was in, it wasn't his fault that movie was terrible. Just everything else around him was not that good. He was good in that movie, and he's great in Violent Night. He's been, of course, great on Stranger Things. Like, anytime you put this guy in anything, he's going to give it his damn all. I am mispronouncing. I'm having trouble with my words the last couple of days, but he's given it his all, is what I'm trying to say, and he just nails it out of the park. I mean, he has a lot of the real funny moments in this movie. It even kills off characters that you don't expect them to do, especially considering that they're at the forefront of this, and you think they're going to come back at some point, and nope, they're gone after that point. Like, you're not going to hear from them again, or maybe you might hear them again from another prequel that takes place, a prequel or something like that, something that takes place before the events of this movie. But yeah, characters get killed off in this movie in ways that I did not think they were going to do, but yeah, give them credit for doing that. It really does take a lot of these characters that were kind of one-offs in the previous things that they were in, and actually gives them a lot more to do here. And you do get more emotionally invested in their situations, and you feel for them. And the film does a very good job of balancing out the more serious and the more humorous moments, which I think a lot of the more recent MCU movies kind of failed to do, not really fail, but they kind of missed the mark on that, because I feel like they're trying to go for something much deeper than what we expect. But no, they do a pretty good job of keeping it balanced, keeping it straightforward, and giving you, the audience, what you want to see in a movie like this. Like, I like the fact that even with the MCU tropes that you come in to expect, they're not as jubilant and all over the place like they were in some of the more recent films. Like, take, for example, the antagonist of the movie. The antagonist of the movie, I mean, he's not really much of an antagonist, but he's more of a person that, is inflicted by the real antagonist of the movie, which is not even a person. It's more like depression, because, it's just the movie does a very good job of handling that, and the performances by the person who plays it, which I'm not going to spoil here, but, I mean, it works. It works very well here. The performances overall are great. I especially love Julia Louis-Dreyfus playing Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. I mean, I just love the way that she has evolved from just a simple character in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but as the time has gone on and you learn more about her, you know that she's becoming more and more prevalent as the films go on, and it just works, man. It's like she really has nailed it, and she is no longer Elaine Bennis or Selena Meyer or Christine. Like, she really has become a pretty damn good actress, not just as a comedic actress, but also just an actress in general. Not to say that she wasn't, but most of us knew her from her comedy work, and she can have some good one-liners too here and there. But yeah, she really gets a chance to shine here. Everybody here gets a chance to shine. When the action sequence at the end happens, it's legitimately creepy, it's legitimately terrifying, the way that they have this character, turn into the bad guy, and just the moves that they make. You see it right from the beginning with the Marvel Studios logo too. They don't push any buttons here. This feels like they're going for it again. They're not playing it safe. They're not trying to play it down to a specific audience in general. It just plays it its own rules, and it works very well to a T. I will tell you this though. There are no other characters from Captain America: Brave New World in this. There aren't it. Cap doesn't make an appearance in here, and neither does Harrison Ford, even though there were some rumblings that they might tie it back into this. But no, for the most part, it's a pretty straightforward storyline up until you get to the end of the movie, the post-credit sequence, where you get the glimpses of what's to come with Avengers Doomsday, and also you get to see, I'll at least spoil this for you because it's literally the next movie coming up. The Fantastic Four arrive on Earth in their ship. Like, you don't see them yet, but you see their ship with the large 4 on it, so that's the next movie coming, and it gets you very excited because unlike some of the other MCU post-credit sequences they've had since post-Endgame, we at least know that these two things are going to happen within the next year. We are getting Fantastic Four, and we're getting Avengers Doomsday with Doctor Doom coming up, with Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, which I'm still looking forward to it. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. And yeah, some people may have not liked the fact that he was cast in that, but it's Robert Downey Jr., man. I mean, the guy at this point can do no wrong. I think he's going to pull it off here in Avengers Doomsday. In terms of flaws, they're very hit and miss. There are more things I liked about this movie than I didn't like about the movie. Sometimes the jokes don't work very well, and sometimes the direction can be a little off sometimes, and it does feel like at times they're trying too hard to copy what Suicide Squad did. Not just a little bit of not even the David Ayer one, but the James Gunn one, the one that worked. But then again, it's very few and far between. I didn't have a ton of flaws with this movie. I think they got 2 very solid writers to work on this. You have one of the Joanna Callow, who worked on stuff like The Bear and Hacks, BoJack Horseman, a capable writer. And then you have Eric Pearson, who has written a lot of really good stuff, not just Marvel stuff. He's been there since they started doing the Marvel short films, back in the Marvel one-shots, if you will. But this is the guy that did stuff for like Ant-Man, Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, Detective Pikachu, Godzilla vs. Kong, Black Widow, Transformers 1. I mean, this is a really good writer that's on here. And Jake Schreier, I believe this is no, I take that back. This is not the first film he directed, because he did 2 other films, Robot and Frank, which I've never seen, and Paper Towns, which was, But, this is the guy that made a show Beef, which I've heard a lot of good things about, just never gotten around to watch it, but, guy did a pretty good job handling this. A big blockbuster like this, I'm starting to realize that more times than not, a first-time director taking on a first-time blockbuster director has been more missed than hit. Twisters is probably a good example of that, but you get something like this, and the guy pulls it off. He does a pretty good job of handling that. The film overall is really fun. It's a good, fun MCU movie. It's probably the most fun I've had since maybe Endgame. And we've had some pretty good movies in the MCU, but this was a really big surprise. I was really surprised that I came out of it really enjoying it as much as I did. This is a very entertaining film. The cast is great. The action overall is very good. It's going back to the basics of the MCU and not doing too much to get you excited. It does what it needs to do to entertain the audience, entertain you. I mean, it does everything it needs to do to become a very successful film in the process, and I think it is a very well done film that's going to be very successful overall. I think a lot of people are going to come back to the MCU. I feel like the people who are going into this movie and are ready to hate it, they're going to come out of it going, damn it, you won. That was pretty good. I mean, I feel I'm reminded of the Recess episode where TJ wants his school to go on a field trip to see the new Senior Fusion movie, and the Principal Prickly, who's a closeted fan of the comic book. He and TJ challenge each other to a quiz about who knows the most about the comic book character, and it gets to the very end, and he says the right answer, but he just mispronounces the word femme fatale. It was like femme fatale, like what TJ said, and the principal just says, nope, that doesn't count, you lose. And he goes off on the speech about TJ basically just goes off on the speech about a true fan of this character would know that right is right no matter how you want to change the rules around. And then as soon as he walks out, the principal on the intercom basically goes, all right, TJ, you won. Like, it feels like that's what the feeling's going to be like when people who have been so against Disney and the Marvel Cinematic Universe recently are going to come out of this movie and go like, damn it, you won. I mean, it feels like they should be doing that. I feel like they will be doing that because, yeah, this was a really good movie, and I think even the biggest naysayers of the MCU as of late will still find a lot of value to this movie in general. So yeah, I think this is a good movie. I think it's a really solid film. Yeah, I give it a thumbs up. I think it was a very enjoyable film. It's a very entertaining film. Everybody in here works very well, and it gets me excited for the MCU again. I mean, I'm real. Not that I say that I wasn't before, but I feel like they're getting back on track here. If they can pull off Fantastic Four and prove that, hey, this is how you do it with it's like, I think they'll be back in the swing of things and get people more excited for what Avengers Doomsday is going to be like next year. But that's still a couple months away. So there you go. That's my thoughts on Thunderbolts. But we are not done yet. We still have another movie to take a look at, and that is Another Simple Favor. And we'll take a look at that right after this. See, how do you like the new format there? Showing off some of my older reviews and what I thought of those movies in particular. Let me know down below. What do you think about that? But anyway, let's get to Another Simple Favor. And this is, of course, the sequel to the 2018 movie starring Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick. And in this one, Stephanie Smothers, Kendrick, and Emily Nelson Lively reunite on the island of Capri, Italy, for Emily's extravagant wedding to a rich Italian businessman, which is interrupted by murder and betrayal. And of course, this is of course based off of the original movie as well, which most people probably don't know about this. Because most of you, I don't think, come from the website in particular. But when I did my top 10 best movies of 2018, this was very high up on my list. The original was very high up there. I think it was number 3 on my list of my favorite films of that year. I really enjoyed that first movie so much. And I think it was a wake-up call for Paul Fahey, who had come off of Ghostbusters, which I didn't hate Ghostbusters as much as everybody else did, but you know, that was a movie that gave him the chance to show everybody of what this guy could do as a director. Like, he's not just doing a simple comedy like he's doing with Ghostbusters or Spy or The Heat. Like, he could do other forms of genres. And Simple Favor was kind of a black comedy-esque, if you will, but it was more focusing on the dramatic elements in there. And this one is more focusing more simply on kind of like the Knives Out vibe here. You're getting kind of a Knives Out vibe here, especially the last movie, Glass Onion. And I like the Knives Out movies, and I like Simple Favor, and I really came out of this movie really enjoying it. I thought this one was about as enjoyable as the original film. Not quite as enjoyable, but just about as enjoyable as the original film was. You know, Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively work off each other very well. Blake Lively, of course, going through a lot of very certainly nasty public opinion as of late with the It Ends With Us conflict, which, I mean, if we're being honest, I think she's more the innocent party in this whole thing altogether. But then again, I haven't really been paying much attention to this whole thing. But yeah, Justin Baldoni seems like he's coming off as a dick through the whole thing. But yeah, this movie overall is really good. It works because, yeah, Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively work off each other very well. These are two very good, capable actors. And, you know, they've got all these great talents around them. You know, Henry Golding and Andrew Rannells is back from the first movie. They have these new characters, Elizabeth Perkins, Allison Janney. And the mystery overall is very intriguing, and it does keep you invested. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. Like, I really didn't know exactly where the direction was going to go, and I thought it really took a lot of good twists and turns all the way through. I thought it was a very solid, well-made film all across the board. If there's anything I could say that probably isn't as good as it probably is compared to the first film, I mean, as much as I like some of the twists and turns they do take that are completely take you by surprise, there are times when things get a little bit too predictable for their own good. Like, you can tell when certain scenarios are going to happen, and ordinarily that could be kind of like, okay, I can see where this is going to go, and then, yeah, it does kind of go there, but that was less times they did that more than the times that they did do that. Like, the movie does a pretty good job of keeping you on the edge of your seat, of keeping you invested, especially with these characters overall, and it really does not overstay its welcome either. Like, it runs pretty quickly for a film that is basically 2 hours long. The equivalent, it's literally 2 hours in length. Like, they did a pretty good job of keeping up the pace, keeping you invested, not really just keeping you sitting there, just waiting for you to go like, okay, get to the point already. We get it. We get it. You do this and that. Just like, no, you do get invested all across the board, and I thought they did a pretty good job of handling that. And yeah, I really enjoyed this film a lot. It's a really enjoyable film. I think if you like the first movie, you're definitely going to find a lot of value in this one here. Not quite as good as the original film, but almost comes as close as I can to probably... I mean, I don't think I'm going to put this on my list of the best movies of the year like I did with A Simple Favor, but it's still a good movie overall. Still more than enough for me to say, yeah, I enjoyed it enough to give it a thumbs up. I think it is a very enjoyable film. Really good film to check out. You don't even have to leave your house to see it. It's on Prime Video. I highly recommend checking it out. Another Simple Favor. So there you go. That's the two big new releases this week. Next week, we've got a kind of a dry slate for new releases, so that means another 20th anniversary special episode coming your way. And as, of course, the worst movies I've seen in the last 20 years. I did the best movies I've seen in the last 20 years a couple of months ago. Got to do did the best, got to do the worst. So we'll take a look at that coming up on the next episode next week. But let me know your thoughts down below on Thunderbolts and also Another Simple Favor. What did you think of both of those movies? And I'll leave you with some recommendations this week and what I thought of those movies in particular. So if you like what you saw and want to see more videos like this, please go ahead, hit that playlist, hit the playlist. Check out the last video I did talking about The Accountant 2. Also, hit the like button, the subscribe button, notification button, and the bell. That's where you get updates when new videos come out, and we do post new videos here every day. So with all that said, I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care.